Hey everyone, welcome to another deeper dive here with me, Pastor David, as we just jump back into the message from Sunday. In less than 5 minutes, we'll look at something that we either studied and go deeper in it, or something that we didn't study that I saw during my study time and preparing for the message. The message was entitled, It Starts with a Relationship, Ends with a Home. I think that I had checked into during my study time was how long did the Israelites hang out at Mount Sinai. That's where we were. They were at Mount Sinai. Moses spent 40 days and 40 nights up on the mountain with God, and God gave him the instructions, the detailed instructions on how to build the tabernacle. And I was wondering then, how long did they stay at Mount Sinai? Well, there's some verses that help us know that. It's actually in Numbers chapter 10, verses 11 and 12. Let me read those to you. It says, in the second year after Israel's departure from Egypt, on the 20th day of the second month, the cloud lifted from the tabernacle of the covenant. So the Israelites set out from the wilderness of Sinai. So there's a few things here. First of all, it tells us that they were there for about 2 years. The Israelites spent about 2 years at Mount Sinai. They got there at the second month of their deliverance from Egypt after crossing the Red Sea. And this says in the second year after Israel's departure from Egypt on the 20th day of the second month. So about 2 years they spent in Mount Sinai, in that area. During that time, Moses, of course, went to up to Mount Sinai. He got how to build the tabernacle. He then built the tabernacle, and then in Leviticus he got how to do the law and how to all the different the law of Moses as we know it, and the things that how they were to live. And then it's interesting that they didn't leave right after all of the law of Moses was given to Moses. Instead, they stayed there. And I think the thing that gets to me about this is that maybe they were so concerned about trying to get to the promised land. God was more concerned about relationship. He was more concerned about having a relationship with his people and having a place to call home with his people. And that's what we see in him building the tabernacle. The idea here is where it says the cloud lifted from the tabernacle. If you study that, you learn that the cloud represents God's presence, and any time that the cloud lifted from the tabernacle, that meant it was time for the Israelites to move. It was time to go to another place. And how many times do we try to stay in one place when God's presence has lifted from that place for us? That God has told us to make a move, to make a transition. It's very much like the transition about 15 years ago that Shammy and I made when our girls were just little ones. Savannah wasn't even 1. Bailey was almost 4, and we made that move from Las Vegas to Marion, Indiana. That change was because we do believe that God had lifted that call from Las Vegas to something new, and for us it was New Life Community Church, and we have loved our 15-year journey so far to this point, and looking forward to knowing that the best is yet to come here at New Life. And I'm excited to see the process that God has for us. So just very much, we know that waiting can be frustrating, and waiting can be good. I don't know what you're waiting for, but I encourage you to check in with God to see if God has lifted his presence from what you've been waiting for, and it's time for you to make that move of whatever thing it is, or are you supposed to continue to wait in his presence and continue to build relationship with him and let him have your heart as his home? That's my encouragement to you today and the deeper dive into this time. So we're going to jump right back into it next week. We'll see you guys. Take care. Have an awesome rest of your week.